Hi, I'm Jessica, and when I'm not drinking all the coffee, watching Razorback sports, or hanging out with my family of boys, it's my passion to help elementary music teachers just like you find your unique teaching style. My goal with this podcast is to share helpful tips, strategies, and to give you the motivation you need to gain momentum in your teaching so you can continue being the music teacher rock star you already are. Well, hey there, friend, and welcome back to the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast. Last time I talked about how to not lose yourself as a musician as you continue teaching, because it's very important that you don't lose that musician side of you, because you are a musician first above anything else. And today I want to talk about how to bring your musicianship into your classroom. There are simple ways to do this, and this episode is going to be short, sweet, to the point. But I want to just talk about a few things. What I mean by bringing your musicianship into your classroom is, of course, you have learned as an elementary music teacher how to teach all the things, right? I'm doing the air quotes, all the things. You're doing multiple different things every single day, and every time you see your classes, it looks different, correct? So you know what standards you need to teach and what objectives you're teaching and how you're teaching the different objectives. So it could be, through recorder, rhythm instruments, melodic instruments, singing, movement, speech pieces, rhythm writing, melodic writing, dictation, composing, whatever else. That is all great, and that's all necessary, and it's all needed. But I want you to think about this. Don't you feel like sometimes you're more comfortable teaching certain things in your classroom than others? Have you ever thought about why? I know I have thought that many times as an elementary music teacher. Can I be honest with you? And I've talked about this in a previous episode. I am not a naturally comfortable singer. It does not come naturally to me to just stand in front of a crowd and sing. I can obviously carry a tune, otherwise I would not teach kids how to sing. But my whole life, like I said in the last episode, I was classically trained pianist, clarinet through middle school, high school, college, and singing is not, I would play for, several choirs and soloists, but I was, except for middle school choir, I was never in a singing group or ensemble, and it just was not my strong point, okay? So for me, that's why in college, I've never actually mentioned this before, but I have always dreamed of teaching in an inner city school, and I wanted to help start up a music program. And yes, those are exact dreams I spoke into existence. But also in the back of my mind was like, maybe I would be better as a band director because I have the musician side. I did the instrumental track of music education, but I felt like, I don't feel like I would be a good, yes, these are exact doubts that came in my mind. I don't think I would be a good elementary music teacher because of the singing part. I'm so nervous to sing in front of these kids. They're gonna see that I can't sing well. They're gonna compare me to this singer who's, that was their primary instrument, and they're gonna know, I don't know how to sing well. As well as, we're gonna use Sally Sue as an example again down the street. The comparison game starts again, you guys. It's so real. And not only that, it's not just comparing yourself to other teachers. You compare yourself with you. It's the doubt, the little, I'm thinking of the little devil and the little angel on your shoulder, that little, what am I trying to say? That little cartoon, whatever it is, diagram, graphic, whatever, I'm trying to get at. Well, anyways, I don't like to use the word the devil, but it's just the negative thoughts in your mind. You're not good enough. You can't do this. You're not prepared enough. You're not as good as that other teacher. They're going to think you're imposter. These are real thoughts that I had when I first started. And so I get my first elementary music teaching job, and I knew I needed to get these kids singing because they had not had a music class for 7 years. And I thought, well, you know what? Nobody else is going to do this. I have to teach them singing. It has to happen. But then I also knew my strong points, and that's what we're mainly talking about today, right? My musicianship, my background is in instrumental music. So, of course, like I said earlier, what are you most comfortable doing? You're going to always have things you're more comfortable doing than other things. So for me, the instrumental side of things is where I'm the most comfortable. And ironically, movement in the classroom comes naturally to me, and it's not scary to me. Teaching composing and improvising is something that's easy and comes naturally to me. But I meet other elementary music teachers who, mainly Kodály focused teachers, right? Who really enjoy singing and really enjoy that aspect of teaching music. And here's what I want to tell you today. There's nothing right or wrong about either direction. I'm not going into a lot of teaching method today. I'm mainly talking about your musicianship. Okay, so here's what I want to say about a little bit more about that. Let me clarify some things. Okay, so since I'm most comfortable with teaching instrumental music, I would obviously teach my kids singing, but I always wanted to add instruments to the songs or add movement to the songs. My personality, I can't sit still very well. And so after I would teach the kids a song, we would add instruments or movement, and we'd always get it moving. I would maybe have two, I'm talking about my first year teaching, have probably two songs, and then would add instrumentation to it. Now, if you remember my conversation about not having a lot of instruments when I first started out, or none, let's be honest, I would do a lot of body percussion. Because I like movement, I like getting the kids up and moving, and I like instruments, obviously. And so I didn't have any, so that was their way of using instruments. But if you are, maybe you're hearing things at workshops and you're hearing things through blogs, podcasts, or whatever, and you feel like you are not comfortable teaching instruments as well, because you, except for your methods classes you took in college, or maybe you've done some things at workshops, you're just not naturally comfortable playing instruments. You weren't in band. You weren't in orchestra. Maybe you have been the one that's been going through choir, or you've sang in opera theater, and that is where your strong point is. So like me, you're maybe the opposite of that. You're most comfortable teaching singing to kids. And what doesn't come naturally to you is the instrument side of things. Maybe you are not comfortable with doing movement activities because you just are not, you don't enjoy dancing as much. You just don't enjoy doing movement. And that's okay. So here's what I want to encourage you to do. What worked for me is just getting in there and doing it. Now, like I said at the very beginning of this episode, you're teaching a variety of different things in your elementary music classroom. And so you are going to need to teach a variety of things to cover the standards, and so the kids get a well-rounded music education. But it's okay if you are more comfortable doing something to focus on that a little bit and add the other things in behind it. And it's okay if it doesn't feel natural to you. It's okay if it's not comfortable to you. What's going to make it become more natural to you is just by getting in there and doing it. When I became more comfortable singing in front of the kids is when I just got in there and did it. Oh my gosh, you guys, I remember back to my first week of teaching these kids songs and having 20-something eyeballs staring, or 20-something kids with they have more than 20 eyeballs, but you know what I mean, staring back at me, singing a song, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're judging me. They're silently judging me in their head. No, you know what? They were just curious. They were learning. They were listening. They were watching me as the teacher. There was no judgment. There was no judgment. It was all in my head. And once I realized, I had a mentor teacher tell me this actually. She said, Jessica, the kids, especially because she knew the situation I was starting out and they had not had music, she said, your kids do not care about how good you sound. They care about learning music. And when she said that to me, I thought, you know what, that's the truth. Why am I so worried about this? Why am I so worried about what I was more worried about what my students were going to think about me than the other teachers in my building and in the district. Isn't that crazy? And so if you're having these same feelings where you want to bring the musicianship into your classroom, and we're going to shift in a minute in the conversation and talk about some other things, but maybe you're doubting yourself a little bit and you are struggling with I'm not comfortable doing this in my classroom, I'm more comfortable doing this. It's okay. We all feel that way. Maybe not. Maybe there's certain teachers that just jump right in. They're comfortable doing it all. But for those of us that aren't or weren't, it's okay. And it's going to take time, and it's going to just take patience. Everything comes new, right? Everything you do in life is new to you. You weren't born just learning how to walk. So the same thing, if someone puts a set of Orff instruments in front of you and says, teach these, and you're like, I don't even know how to play this. How am I supposed to teach this? That's okay. And those thoughts are very real and very natural. Okay. And so I'm just wanting to let you know, whatever feels comfortable with you in your musicianship, go with that first. And then the other things will come as you just do them. So shifting gears, here's another way to bring musicianship into your classroom. Like I said, I am a pianist. And so I love playing piano for my kids, and not just playing and having them sit there and listen, but a lot of times instead of playing, like a CD or a track on the MP3 player or whatever, I would play piano while they sang along. They love that because they didn't get to hear a lot of piano players in their little lives. On top of that, I really wish I had stuck with guitar, which that's one of my goals is to pick that back up. But maybe you are, a ukulele is perfect. If you are naturally, love to play guitar and it comes easy to you, then do that. If recorder was something so easy to me because I'm a clarinet player, you don't have to be a clarinet player to teach recorder, obviously, and you don't have to be a guitar player to teach ukulele. But I'm talking about ways to bring your musicianship into your classroom, right? I think it's amazing if you're a naturally gifted singer. You can do so much more vocally with your students than a teacher who's not. And so on top of that, don't be afraid to play your instrument for your students. Bring your guitar in that day, and instead of using it to teach, use it to play. Hey guys, we're going to work on some music appreciation skills today, and I really want to play for you this song I've been working on so they can hear that you're not just a music teacher, and they don't just view you as a music teacher, they view you as a musician as well. All right. And I think it's so amazing when your students see that you really do walk the talk and you really know how to play an instrument, and you are musical and you are a musician, and that's why you're a music teacher. You're not just telling them you're a musician, but don't be afraid to show them your musicianship. I think it's amazing when these kids get to see and hear you play your instrument. And so, with that said, let's do a quick wrap up. Bringing your musicianship into your classroom means you are naturally gifted at something. You majored in music education, and maybe you didn't. Maybe you started being a music teacher through a different track, but you have a primary instrument probably. Or you have a couple instruments, or singing. I'm using that. When I say instrument, I'm also including singing in that you're naturally gifted at. Those are your strong points. So that's going to be mainly what you focus on probably when you're starting out teaching elementary music. The other stuff will come later because you're more natural in doing something, right? And then we also talked about bringing your musicianship includes, if you're more comfortable doing something, then the things you teach in your classroom are going to just be a little more natural as well. And then don't be afraid to show your students your musicianship by playing for them and singing for them and not just teaching it to them. The other thing I did want to mention as well is I had an old set of keyboards in my classroom that had not been touched in years. And I thought, maybe it wasn't something I would have ever ordered, but I thought, oh my gosh, why am I not teaching these to my kids? So I didn't have room in my class to have a whole keyboard lab, but I set up a few of them, and we would definitely use those. And my students learn how to play piano. And so I thought that was amazing because there's not a lot of elementary music teachers that get that opportunity. So maybe that is the case too, where you have like an old set of keyboards sitting up there, or maybe you have Orff instruments that are just tucked away in a cabinet. Or maybe you have recorders you just haven't been comfortable starting with, or even ukuleles, and you're like, I don't know the first thing about this. What I want to also encourage you to do is if you do have instruments like that you have not started because of fear or because of, resistance, or there's maybe just some mindset thing going on, teach yourself. You are a musician and you got this. Maybe take a course. Maybe watch a YouTube video. Maybe ask a teacher who's done it before. How do you do this? How do you teach this when you've never played this before? And get help that way. So there's so many ways to bring musicianship into your classroom. I would love to hear what you think about this. So you guys, find me on Instagram, tag me, and comment on this episode and let me know what you think about it. How do you bring musicianship into your classroom? I would love to know. Or leave a comment on my Facebook page at The Domestic Musician. All right, you guys, I hope that you are bringing your musicianship into your classroom every single day, and your students get to see you as a musician, and that they will love learning music the more that they see your love and passion for music. All right. Have an amazing week, and I'll be back soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening in to the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, I would love for you to review the show and leave a rating on iTunes. To find out more about how I can help you gain momentum in your elementary music teaching career, head to thedomesticmusician.com, where you'll find free downloads, courses, the blog, and so much more. Continue teaching music and never doubt the impact you're making each and every day in the lives of your students.